Hey, what's up guys? It's Chris, and today we're finally taking a look at HDR gaming. More specifically, we're taking a look at Forza Horizon 3 being played on the Xbox One S and displayed on the Samsung KS8000 TV, which supports HDR10. Now here's an important disclaimer before we go any further. Personally, I have no way to capture this HDR and show it to you like it really exists in the real world in front of my eyes. All I can really do is tell you about my experience with it, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So before you can actually play a game in HDR, what you wanna do is go into your Xbox settings and check out what it says under the picture output. And as you can see here, I do have everything properly tuned, and it did take a little bit of effort to figure everything out and get it working properly. So on the TV side of things, I'm actually playing using the settings that are recommended by ratings.com. So the special viewing mode is set to game, with the backlight set to max, and the smart LED is set to high, and the color space is set to native. And before you ask me in the comments, yes, HDR does work in game mode on this TV with the Xbox One S. Now, if you're trying to get set up on this exact TV or a similar Samsung model, you wanna go into your settings and make sure that HDMI UHD color is enabled for the exact HDMI port that the Xbox is plugged into before you do anything else. Now, once you've got everything set up correctly, then the first time that you start FH3, you're gonna see a dialog box appear asking you to adjust the HDR brightness settings. Right now, let's focus on some of the things in this game that actually look better with HDR enabled. And obviously, the point of HDR gaming in the first place is to see a broader range of colors. In more practical terms, what that actually means is that bright and dark areas aren't just gonna get clipped to white and black. And so you'll actually be able to appreciate a lot more detail. So in an open world game like FH3, where you have the sky producing a lot of light that's raining down on everything below, then everything that light touches is going to be affected in dynamic ways. So little details like water droplets moving up your windshield while you're driving through water, those look great. And bigger details like how the surfaces of cars reflect images of their surroundings, those become pretty jaw-dropping, and it's really just pure eye candy. Now, having driven a Lamborghini in real life, I have to say that no racing game does that car justice. You just have to be behind the wheel. But with this HDR and upscaled 4K experience, what might be better in the game is how a car like a Lamborghini actually looks. It's almost prettier in the game with HDR because of all the scenery and the settings, and that's pretty cool. One area where the value of HDR becomes apparent is when you're in a tunnel situation and you've got some bright and some dark spots on the screen at the same time, and you can still see detail in both. And the same thing goes for when you're driving down a road with a bright sky and lots of shadows that are crossing the road at the same time. But the coolest part of playing this game in HDR might be playing at sunset when the colors become amazingly surreal. And I think when you switch back to a game that's not HDR enabled, that's when you notice a big difference, because then everything starts to feel a lot more washed out. So HDR gaming really is impressive, and it's as good as it gets on a console right now. But even so, there still are some limitations. Unfortunately, HDR doesn't fix some in-game objects still appearing pretty unrealistic, like people's hair or maybe leaves that are blowing in the wind. And even with that 4K upscaling, you're still gonna see some jaggedness and aliasing on certain edges. But overall, I'm really loving the HDR capabilities of the Xbox One S, and there's definitely something fun about playing what might be the best looking console game to date at its top settings. So hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up to let me know, and hit subscribe if you haven't already so we can catch up in future videos. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. And don't forget to check out Daily Tech, spelled daily, TEKK.com. And if you haven't already, go check out the video I did on the Xbox One S as an Ultra HD Blu-ray player as well, because I tested the HDR capabilities there too. All right, I'll catch up with you guys in the next video. Later.